Now we'll look at adding a director to our new business in Director Pays. This couldn't be simpler, as there's a wizard to guide us through the process. So to start, we'll just click on the button Add Employee in the dashboard. And then we start typing. To add the postal address, you simply type in the postcode and select the address. In this case, the residential address is the same as the postal address, and therefore we don't need to fill this information in twice. And we'll add in Frieda's email address. We've got some different options to how we can communicate with our directors. Email and then turning on the web or phone apps gives them the most flexibility. But if for some reason you don't have an email address for them, or they don't want to be contacted in this way, you could either provide them manually or via text message. We'll turn on the self-service for this director. That means they can view pay slips, P60 information. They'll also be able to potentially manage their personal details, such as their address, potentially their bank account if that's being used, or update their email address should they wish to use a personal one. We enter their start date. And we select a location. This is effectively a cost center for director-only businesses. There would only usually be one, so we just select that. And then we pick a pay schedule. You can see from this that this has already been set up for you when you created the business. And then we look at the pay rate. In this case, it's going to be £12,500 per annum, based on a 37.5-hour week. If you don't know how many hours a director is contractually obliged to work in their week, it's not going to make any difference to other calculations. So you could put in 37.5 or 40. If you're going to pick a primary pay category, these have already been set up for you when you created the business. So we'll pick salary. And as it's a director, we have the choice about whether they're exempt from the national minimum wage or not. This just saves some additional warnings later on when you're running payroll. Again, we click on next. Now here you can put in the bank account details if that's appropriate, or if not, or you don't have them because the director pays themselves, you could just change this to cash or check, at which point you don't need to put in the account numbers. In this scenario, we know what they are. And we'll move on to there. It may be that under your old system, the director had a payslip number, in which case we'll just put this in here as well. And it's worth ticking that this employee has been previously reported, as that will go through on the FPS and tell HMRC that this person may have been reported on a different system previously. The tax code is automatically set up from the employee statement, but you can override this if you want. If the director has a student loan in place, then again, these can be set up here. And then the national insurance number. The national insurance category will automatically be picked up from the system depending on the date of birth of the director. So this will either populate with category A or category M. If your director has a different national insurance category, e.g. C, then you just pick this from the list and you can override the system. In this instance, it's definitely a category A. And in this case, Frida is obviously a company director, so we tick that box and then we choose the national insurance calculation method that we're going to use. Her appointment start date happens to be the same as her company start date. If these were different though, we could amend that figure here. As she was a company director in an earlier tax year, there's obviously no P45 information, but if it's a new business being set up, this information might be pertinent and needs to be added. In this scenario, Frida isn't a member of a pension scheme, and therefore we select the do not enroll option. However, if she had a SIP or an automatic enrolment pension that she included herself in, we could pick manually and then flow through that into the scheme that we've set up. And there, Frida is complete. We can now go to her details, or we could add another director and go through that process again.